The economy, the recession, whatever you want to call it, it's real. And
no denying it.
I'm a real person, just like I know you are, JB, and you can't tell me that we're not in a recession.
Yeah.
I would challenge any politician that says that to come with me and look at my grocery store's bill now compared to, and that's what buying as much generic or coupon stuff as I can compared to 2 or 3 years ago.
So it is Wednesday, July 3rd, tomorrow, July 4th. Wow, we're blessed to have another day of life. I'm here with my good friend, Professor Elias.
What's up, guys?
We just got done with a nice workout today. And before I start the video, a couple of things I just want to respond to here really, really quick. You know, I put that video up yesterday. It was very controversial with Kennedy Jr., RFK Jr., allegedly dining on that dog. A lot of people wrote in and said it's a goat, it's not a dog. Look, I don't know exactly what it was. I'm going on with what was being reported. A lot of veterinarians came out and said that animal had what they call a floating rib cage, and so that is a dog, according to them. Now, I hope it isn't. RFK says some really good things. He says some really bad things I don't agree with either. But at the end of the day, whether it's true, whether it's not true, he did verify the photo was legit. He did get the brain parasite right after that. We can argue all day what kind of animal it was. I'm just reporting the news. I put a question mark in the title. I said, you know, that I couldn't validate this if it was true or not. And people wrote in and said, well, he went on Fox News and he said it was a goat. So I guess we should just all believe it because a politician goes on Fox News and tells us something, so we should all believe it. Now, at the end of the day, you make your own decision. But one thing I noticed was there was a handful of people that went into the comments and said that, you know, when you're hungry, you'll eat anything. You'd eat your own dog, JB. Well, first off, this was back in 2010. RFK wasn't starving. He came from America, first world country. He's eating at a restaurant that was well known to be serving dogs. So he wasn't starving. He hadn't missed a meal probably in his life being a Kennedy. And there's a lot of keyboard warriors out there, a lot of tough guys that, you know, probably just took a break, you know, at their station at Walmart or Starbucks or Dairy Queen or Burger King or wherever the heck they're working, telling me about tough times and that I might have to eat my own dog. This is why I put food and water away. This is why I have skills. This is why I know how to hunt. This is why I prepare. But it's amazing how these tough people come out of the woodwork behind their keyboards and tell us that we'll eat our own dogs. And, you know, when people get hungry, this is what they do. And yeah, I get it. I saw what happened in parts of Venezuela and South America where people were, you know, going into the zoos and eating zoo animals. But remember, you want to have a good dog because back when people were starving, when people were surviving, the settlers, people always resorted back to dogs for what? For security and for hunting. A good dog can save your butt. A good dog helps you hunt, helps you to be able to eat. So it's amazing how quick people want to go and eat dogs. I mean, maybe they have some kind of weird fetish. I don't know. But while I'm on this topic, really quick, Appalachia's homestead, Patera, recently lost her dog, a dog that worked on her farm, protected her animals, protected her household. Cochise was his name. Rest in peace, Cochise, a great Pyrenees. And I wanted to just send my condolences to Patera. This is another reason why people who live on farms, people who have survival skills know the importance of having a dog. But look, this is not a channel to sit here and talk all day about dogs, but I just want to clarify that. Make your own conclusion about what the heck he was eating. At the end of the day, if you eat a dog, you're a vile, disgusting human being. You're a dog lover. What do you say?
I feel like I wouldn't want to be a part of a world where dogs dogs were put on the menu. I just, man, I couldn't imagine. I love my 2 dogs, and to think that we would ever be in a time where we'd have to eat our dogs. Yeah. I just can't even imagine that time. Yeah. I think I'd rather figure out something else to do at all costs than ever touch my own pet, who is like a son. Both of my dogs are like sons. I have a son and daughter. It'd be like, you know, you'd say something crazy like, you know, we'd have to start eating each other. To me, that's how important my dogs are in my life. So,
you know, and another thing, really quick, I don't want to beat this to death, but you know, people just talk about, again, you know, eating, you know, a dog. the problem I really have with it is just how inhumane. These people boil dogs alive. They skin them alive. They do absolutely the most inhumane, violent, demonic type of torture on an animal. I believe if you eat a cow, a chicken should have a great life growing up and being raised, and it should be processed as humanely as possible. These people have no respect for life. How they could absolutely torture an animal to death is beyond me. And I just want to make that point. So somebody wrote me yesterday and said, "Oh, I can't believe what you said about RFK. I'm never going to listen to you again. Bye." Well, here's a reply to that. Well, bye. Goodbye. You don't have to be here. I don't make these videos to make friends. I don't sit here going, "Oh, I have to have 1 million, subscribers. I need to have 100,000 views today." I don't care. I make these videos because I just want to talk about the truth. I want to report what's really happening out there. This isn't a personality contest. This is reality. And if somebody is that, butthurt because I said something about RFK, which may be true, may not be true. I just wanted to point it out. It was on every major news source yesterday. If you're that hurt by it, then you need to go find a puppy channel, a cooking channel, whatever makes you happy, because look, sometimes the truth hurts. I have an opinion. You have an opinion. Professor Elias here has an opinion. If he has a different opinion than me, am I never going to talk to him again? We can agree to disagree. But some people are so mentally weak. What do you think about, here we're training jiu-jitsu today, hour and a half. Maybe some people better get out and get some training so they're not so mentally weak.
Yeah, I just be better, I guess, is the best thing I could say for those of you who think that eating a dog is okay and making your opinion known
it's
on
not
your
even
own
so much
channel.
the eating, it's just how inhumane.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're starving, I get it, but why would you have to torture an animal to eat? I mean,
be better. That's what I can
better.
say, man. Be better.
Be better. I think that's great advice.
Let's be better. Let's be better.
So speaking of being better, what is going on in business? What are you seeing, being a small business owner? What are you seeing out there? Can you give us any data of what you're seeing as a small business owner right now?
Well, I was talking to you a little bit about, for me, it's really it seems like people are holding on a little bit tighter to their money. Like we had I was giving JB an example of last month. We had a ton of people come in and try jiu-jitsu classes, and it just seemed like when I was talking to them, even though we try to give first day sign up discounts and different things like that, people just didn't care about any of that. They wanted to go home. They wanted to check their finances. They wanted to make sure this was something they can afford. And I would tell you what, most of them didn't come back. And to me, that was unusual. We've always had a really high rate of signing people up who come in and check out a class of jiu-jitsu after they've checked out the class. And it was very surprising to have so many people come in. And I think it's definitely no coincidence that we're in a recession, regardless of what they say on the news in our economy, that it's definitely people are holding on tighter to their money. They're just not giving it out, even if the price point, something 2 or 3 years ago wouldn't have been a big issue. Yeah. I saw a video. I don't know if you saw the video on Twitter or the now X, where a guy went to Walmart and reordered. Yeah. Did you post that? Have you talked about that already?
Yeah.
You talked about it already?
Yeah, but go ahead.
Yeah, I was blown away that he had reordered the same thing he ordered 2 years ago. And he had,
185 2 years ago, 414 today.
Yeah, it was almost or more than triple what the cost was of what he ordered 2 years ago. And I feel it. Like I've told this in videos before, and me and my wife, like when we go shopping, things are different now. Like I used to, for the first time, JB, I'm financially secure. My wife is financially secure. I'm not rich by any means. My wife is a nurse and I own a small business. We make do. And for the first time in my life, and I'm not saying this to judge anybody, but I actually used a coupon at a Carl's Jr. I know it sounds crazy, but I had never used a coupon at a Carl's Jr. It was me and my wife are now trying to be smarter when shopping, when we're going out to eat, when we're shopping for food at the local market. We're being smarter and looking at the generic brands, the things that we know are very similar to what the major brands are, but that are saving us money to help combat the 25% increase in groceries or restaurants or whatever it is. So the economy, the recession, whatever you want to call it, it's real. And
no denying it.
I'm a real person, just like I know you are, JB. And you can't tell me that we're not in a recession.
Yeah.
I would challenge any politician that says that to come with me and look at my grocery store's bill now compared to, and that's what buying as much generic or coupon stuff as I can compared to 2 or 3 years ago.
Amazing.
You can't do it.
We're pretty close to one of my favorite grocery stores, Winco. I know you go to Winco,
Love
right?
Winco.
Love Winco, my favorite. And it's probably the biggest, best discount grocer, at least on the West Coast. I don't know what other states, if they're in other states. But you can definitely notice prices going up there weekly. But, you know, I mentioned this a couple times on my past videos, asking twice now the cashiers there, how many people are paying for their groceries with WIC or SNAP, some, you know, government subsidy. And both times, 2 different cashiers told me it is over 70%, probably closer to 80+%. Wow. And when you think about how big that store is, how many thousands of people shop there every day, and to think that 70 to 80% of the people shopping at Winco are using government subsidies to pay for their food, how bad is it right now?
Yeah, I didn't know that, but I mean, again, we are just being careful when we shop. I mean, I can testify that, I mean, again, I know we don't have access to the president. I know we don't have access to Gavin Newsom, but I would just say to anybody who says that we're not going through a recession, you know, just go with me to the grocery store, Winco, the store that we love, and see. And if you believe that you are spending the same amount of money today as you were 3 or 4 years, I'd be curious to hear in the comments who in any part of this country is still spending the same amount of money for the same product you were buying now compared to 3 years ago. I challenge anybody.
And let me ask you this. You're paying more for the product, but how much less of the product are you getting? The cereal box is like this thin now. A bag of potato chips is half full. I couldn't believe what a bag of potato chips costs now. Also, the quality. Have you noticed the quality of food absolutely going down?
It's really funny you said that because I've seen, I was just looking at the other day, we were shopping at the same grocery store JB's talking about, Winco, and we were looking at some of the, I believe it was some of the meats for making sandwiches. And we were looking at them and we were like, man, does it look like these packages or this packaging got a little bit smaller? Because I have 2 young children, so we always buy stuff to make sandwiches and things like that. And my wife was like, it looks like it, but we couldn't tell for sure. So there's no guarantee. Because, I mean, which one of us 3 years ago was checking the weight of things to see what was the weight of things, because we weren't worrying about our economy, right? We weren't in a recession. And so now when you see things, I don't know if I'm seeing things or, I mean, I'd love to see like the facts of these like companies who we buy things from and see if things are net weighting the same now as they were 3 years ago, but yet the costs are going up. So yeah, it's funny you say that because we literally were just talking about that the other day. Like, does this packaging look like it has less in it? And, we can't tell. I mean, we don't know. We believe it is, but we don't, because again, 3 years ago, we never checked.
Yeah.
So be smart. Use your eyes.
One thing we do know is every time you go to the grocery store, compared to 3 years ago, it is way more expensive now than it was then. Another thing I want to say too is we were talking earlier today about the explosion of properties being built out here in the desert. Multifamily, single-family residences, commercial real estate. It's going up like bonkers. This looks so similar to 2006, 2007 out here, except it's even bigger now. It's off the chart with what is happening. We were just talking about some of these new developments. One out in Indio. How many homes are going up?
It's going to be like 2,200.
2,200. We got Disneyland over here, 2,000. Right off of I-10 here. Multiple massive multifamily units. You've seen some of my videos on those. Huge. I mean, some of these are over 1,000 units. It is just going bonkers. And while I see more places going out of business, there's more commercial real estate being built. It blows me away, especially looking at all the multifamily. And you're looking at what a 2-bedroom in Palm Desert could cost you $3,000. But what do you say about like all these houses and all this multifamily? Today, we're over 7% on a 30-year. How is this sustainable? I have no answer.
It's interesting. It's not so much the amount of houses that are being built, like that concerned me being new to the Coachella Valley or the Palm Springs area. But for me, it's the cost of the home. The cost of the home, like with the interest rates, you would think that things would be going lower to try to compensate for interest rates.
Yeah,
but we bought a house 3 years ago in March 31st of 2021 for $484,000. That same house was worth $650,000.
And you got a
and we got a 2.6 interest rate on that home. And I'm just thinking to myself, how are they? I mean, and you know what scares me the most, JB, and you can give me more of a
perspective.
A perspective, yeah. Is this the new norm?
Yeah.
Is it is the state or whoever? I believe it's the government who's creating these interest rates. And I mean, because if you're a young person and you're looking to buy a home and you've never were around with the 2.6 interest rates, the 3% interest rates, 4% interest rates, you don't know better. So you're going to go buy a home because you're ready to buy a home. You've built your stability up financially. You have everything. You're starting a family. So you want to go buy a home. And when you go to the place and they tell you the interest rate, you accept it. And are we just like talking about the inevitable? And that's what worries me, because I've seen and know what it used to be. And it seems like they're trying to normalize. When I say normalize, because nobody's talking about it in the media. Nobody's talking about it anywhere. Like, what's going on? Like, it just feels like this is going to become the norm. And if that's the case, like me personally, like, I'm never buying another home.
You're stuck.
I'm never buying another home.
The question is it sustainable? Because at 7-8% on a mortgage rate, now the average house out here is over $700,000.
Yeah.
So how many people can afford a $5,000 a month mortgage? How many households are making over $100,000 a year?
$150,000.
Wages are not keeping up with inflation. So you have inflation eating away. Taxes continue to eat away. How about the cost of home insurance? And then what if a spouse loses a job and you got a $5,000, $6,000? $5,000 or $6,000 now seems like the normal mortgage now for people, plus a car or 2 cars. I mean, this is absolutely, in my opinion, unsustainable. It is going to blow up. It is going to be very, very ugly. We're going to see something we've never seen before, because half the country doesn't even have $500 saved up. Yeah, we're talking 7+% on a cookie cutter over here in Bermuda Dunes, Northgate, which I shot a few weeks ago, $650,000 at 7.5%.
Whoa. I mean, I read an article a couple of months ago, and in the state of California, you may have reported on this already, but there was someone, they had talked about that in the state of California, we are now paying 50% of our income towards taxes.
Yeah.
So that means, when I heard that, it was the first time in the history that we had gotten to that point. And when I heard that, I was blown away, because I thought to myself, just imagine if you make $100,000 a year, 50,000, I mean 7% on your home, right? Here in our area, 9%, 8.75% on your food taxes.
Yeah. Gas
taxes which is going up. Just went up July 1st here in the state of California. You have your income tax, right? The things that the government takes out of your paycheck, 25 to 30% without you even having a say in it. The state tax. So imagine, what we could do if we had just a slight cutback. We have, $50,000 of, if you make $100,000 per year is being taken out of your income per year from the government. Imagine if we can just get even like, if there was 20% of that and we were making 80,000, who wouldn't love to have 30 more thousand?
It would just go right back into the economy.
Like it's and this is the thing. For me, not to get political, but how can we stop it?
Yeah, right.
How can we, at what point do we wait till we're giving 90% of our income to the government before we say to ourselves, hey, this doesn't seem right? At what point do we stop it?
That's the scary thing, because by then it's too late, right? Because then you're probably, everybody's on government subsidies.
Revolution.
Everybody's on government subsidies for food or housing or whatever. The 50% that you're talking about, I would argue, I think it's higher than that. I think it's well over 60% when you take in
that's the average, by the way. So there could be exceptions.
Yeah, I think it's even higher. I thought it was like over 60, 62, 64%. You're taking in all the insurances you pay for property, when you go to the grocery store, the gas tax, your income tax, the sales tax, business tax, you name it. There's a tax on everything is taxed. So
and
people
now
have
they're trying to pass. I mean, you read this, right? They tried to pass a law saying that they don't think that you're capable of voting on whether or not they should be able to raise taxes or not. Did you see that bill?
Interesting. No.
Did you see that bill? So there's a bill that was introduced. They just shot it down, or they don't think it's going to pass. I'll research it and maybe send it to you. But they were talking about how Governor Gavin Newsom was trying to pass a bill that was going to allow them to raise taxes that they deem necessary for the state, because we're in a huge budget deficit.
Yeah, huge.
That they're trying to raise tax and not have to vote on it, because it's stuff that has to be done, and they feel like if we can vote on it, we may vote to not do it, and then the state can't continue to fund itself, or its huge budget deficit, which how did we get that in the first place? But anyway, I thought to myself, like, wow, like now we're getting our rights trying to get taken away from us to not even vote whether we want to be taxed anymore.
Yeah,
I mean, it's already kind of...
You can't think for yourself. Right now,
I'll send it to you.
We're paying about $1,100 more a month than we were 3 years ago, just for the cost of living. $1,100 more a month. So, think if we were making $1,100 more a month now than losing, having to pay $1,100 more a month to have the same lifestyle we had 3 years ago. If people were making $1,100 more than they were per month 3 years ago, man, that money would just be flowing back into the economy. And like you said, taxes are too high. If people could get a break on their taxes, people are going to spend that money. People can't wait to spend money. That money's going to go right back into the economy. But now the money's not going back into the economy. People are making life choices. Do I pay the utility bills, which are skyrocketing now because we're going to be 120 degrees on Friday? Do I pay my grocery bill, or do I take a vacation? Do I go shopping? Do I buy a car? People can't do this stuff anymore. So now they're forced to just pay the essentials and just get by. And I don't know what this is going to look like a year from now, because people are getting so deep into debt, and these rates, a credit card typical rate, 23%. People are now so reliant, dependent on credit cards to eat, pay the utility bills, or paying their rent with credit cards. You name it, at 23%. I mean, are they ever going to get out of this abyss?
Yeah, I mean, I just looked at my credit card recently because we were looking at, we paid one of our credit cards off, and we just looked at it. And one of the reasons we paid it off is we looked at it and we saw that it was, it used to, I mean, I don't even know what it was. It was an American Express, probably used to be 19 to 23%. It changed. We didn't know. At the end of last year, we had no idea, to 29%. And we were like, we saw the amount of money that was being charged in interest.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And we were just like, okay, we need to pay. Like, we can't. I mean, sometimes you just let that stuff float because you're just out of sight, out of mind. And we started getting. We're trying
attention.
We're trying to get smart. Yeah, pay attention. I mean, because maybe there was something in the agreement when we signed that, apply for that credit card that says they can change the rates when necessary. And who knows? I mean, we didn't even check to see if that was
typically
legal.
it's like zero for a year or whatever, and then all of a sudden it ticked up, and before you know it, it's like, holy crap, it's 30% now. Somebody sent me a credit card that they got for 34.9%. Wow. So you got to really be paying attention to this stuff. I'm going to close with this last one and get your opinion of this. Matt sent this to me last night. I watched this video. Newport Beach, many of you know Newport Beach. Some of you may be watching this from Newport Beach, but a horrific crime just took place there. And I was watching the video of this last night. And if you don't know Newport Beach, it's one of the wealthiest areas in the United States of America. There's an outdoor shopping mall called Fashion Island. Been there many times. I've probably shot 3, 4, or 5 videos there myself. Lived very close to there many, many years ago. A elderly couple was coming out of the mall, and they were accosted by 3 gentlemen who tried to rob them in the parking lot of this mall. A struggle ensued. They took off, and the driver hit this woman, running her over and taking her life. Absolute tragedy. This just happened, I believe, yesterday, maybe the day before. High-speed chase ensued after that. They caught the driver, then they caught the other 2 suspects after that. But I've got to say, I mean, growing up for half my life in Orange County and living in South Orange County for many, many years, you began your journey there. Years, yeah. You know this area very, very well also. An elderly couple being assaulted and attacked in the parking lot of Fashion Island. And just a few months before that was the home invasion up in Newport Coast in a $7 million house. This is tragic. It's disturbing. Nobody's safe. No, you've got to be so careful out there. I mean, this is somebody's mom, grandmother, wife, just lost her life for absolutely nothing. And by the way, when they took off, they started firing rounds at somebody or at these people or at other people. So now we have a shootout in Fashion Island on top of it. An elderly woman, a grandma, loses her life. I just want to get your take on this before we end today, because I just want to reiterate again today, you all got to be careful out there. You got to have your head on a swivel. You had an experience many, many years ago. We won't bring that up today, but maybe one day you'll talk about it, why it's so important to really exercise situational awareness. Even if you're in Fashion Island, Newport Beach, multi-millionaires, billionaires, one of the most expensive shopping malls in the country, this can happen to you.
Yeah, that was surprising to me. You sent me the video as well about the news that happened there. And I've been there. Me and my family go to Newport Coast every year during Christmas time and stay at the hotel out there for a few days. And we've been to this Fashion Island mall. And it was
Kobe Bryant used to go there all the time.
Well, Kobe Bryant lives in Kobe Bryant used to have a home.
Yeah, there's a big koi pond.
I guess still does have a home in Newport Coast.
Yeah. He would take his kids to the koi pond there all the time.
Yeah, it's definitely something that was surprising to me, because if you've been to this mall, you know that it seems very safe. And I guess the moral of that story is like you're not safe anywhere, and really like situational awareness is so important. Like when I go out, like I don't care if I hurt people's feelings. When I go out and I eat, like where was I at the other day? I was at Winco the other day, and when I was at Winco, somebody walked up a little bit close to me towards my back. And it was an older gentleman. When I say older, maybe 40s, 30s, upper 30s, 40s, like not maybe younger than me, but he actually had walked up pretty close to me. And I think he was looking at a grocery behind me. And I stopped what I was doing because I have my wife and my kids with me. And I turned around and I stared at him literally 5 feet from my face and watched him his whole time that he shopped until he walked away. And I didn't care if I offended him, because in my mind I thought to myself, I don't know what your intentions were. And it seems, I mean, well, obviously he was totally innocent, but my situational awareness alert level is at a 100. And I just think it's so important right now, watching that video, hearing about what happened in Fashion Island, that, I mean, forget about hurting people's feelings.
Yeah.
Look at people. I mean, I tell you what, criminals don't want to be seen. The people who are trying to do bad acts, if you confront them and you look at them, if you know how to defend yourself, if you know how to fight, if you know how to box, if you know how to, if you get taken to the ground, how to defend yourself from the ground, if you have a tool with you, then if you look at them and you feel confident enough to look at them and confront them, then they're gonna go to the easier target. Don't be the easy target.
And he doesn't mean like sit there and have a stare down with somebody, but make eye contact.
I see you.
I see you. Okay, but we're not going to have a staring competition, but I see you, and I'm aware that you're there.
He turned his head down. He did everything. I had no idea, because he just got really close and I wasn't looking. And when I looked at him, it wasn't for intimidation reasons or anything like that. But when I looked at him, he put his eyes down and started looking at the things he was looking for. And then after that, me and my wife and kids walked away. There was nothing. I'm just hyper aware that if someone gets near me, I look, because I mean, it doesn't take a lot of distance for someone to hit you somewhere where it can make you go unconscious. And if I'm with my wife and kids and someone makes me go unconscious, especially if it's a man, but even a woman, then who's going to protect them? Luckily, my wife's a black belt as well. But even then, can she protect herself? She's 5 feet against a grown man when she has 2 children with her. So what I mean by that is just you have an obligation to yourself and your family or whoever you're with to be aware and to make sure that you protect yourself. And
that's great advice. I want to close with this last article because it kind of relates to that. New York Post. Beloved aunt, 74 years old. Homeless man pushed her into BART train in San Francisco. Train ran her over. 74 years old. So again, this just reinforces why you should exercise situational awareness. Because now we weren't there, but maybe if this woman that was pushed onto the train tracks, run over by the train. Maybe if she was exercising what you're saying, situational awareness, more aware of her environment, maybe she could have just kind of got some distance and just got away from the guy.
Yeah, called from help. I mean, it doesn't have to. You don't even have to be like just know. I mean, you know, we teach the kids. Like we have a kids self-defense program here in Palm Desert, and we teach the kids here that when you have a bully and there's somebody that's trying to do something to you, you don't even punch or kick them. You defend yourself. You create space, and you yell. Right. You yell for help. You yell so that way you get the attention, if you're at a park, of a parent, of another adult, if you're at school, of a teacher, if you're out and about somewhere in public, of your parent, again, another adult. Regardless of the situation, you yell so that way you can get the attention. So if you're 74 years old, I don't expect you to be able to defend yourself.
Right. But distance.
But if you were aware of somebody that was a danger, then you could have at least maybe created some space, and then you could have yelled. You could have yelled. I'm sure there was some hopefully good adults there that could have protected her.
You always resort back to your training, no matter how old you are. So yeah, distance may be your best friend. Distance may win the fight, right? Distance may save your life. So situational awareness is absolutely free. We need to be exercising it every day. I think I'm gonna leave it there today. I think we talked about quite a bit. Anyways, that's it for today. God bless everyone. Please like, share, subscribe. Professor, see you in a couple days.
Yeah, and make sure use your eyes in everything we talked about, not your ears.
God bless.